and other countries allied with us have nuclear weapons. So it's only other countries that want to develop nuclear weapons that are compelled to abandon such projects. But if we took the initiative in dismantling our nuclear arms arsenal, that would serve as a model for others to imitate, to reduce their own nuclear arms projects. And especially important, I would say, is for us also to press for the elimination, complete elimination of drone warfare. If any country is going to fight with another country, they have to do it like a man, go out on the battlefield and fight with actual weapons. Best of all is to eliminate all hostilities and establish peaceful relationships. But if one wants to fight, no cheating by hiding behind a desk in Nevada or Colorado, pressing buttons as though one is playing a computer game. Okay, and then as the antidote to delusion, we need greater wisdom, greater knowledge, greater understanding of the way, especially of the law of conditionality, which is a fundamental Buddhist principle. On the one hand, we could say the interconnectedness, the interdependency of everything that goes on in the world, and the conditional influence that all of our actions have upon everything going on within the world. And this can serve, if we really have a clear insight into interdependence, conditionality, we can see how our own lifestyles are conditioning and driving war. Please don't think that I'm blaming you personally. This is something that we're all at fault for, including us monks. But it's our own lifestyles which are driving the dependency upon fossil fuels, which is the sustaining force behind wars in the Middle East. It's our own lifestyles again, our consumerism, our burning up of fossil fuels, which is driving global warming and climate change. And so when we understand this, we can see the need to find new ways, especially new ways of obtaining our energy that will replace the use of fossil fuels, the need to make a full-scale, rapid transition to clean, sustainable sources of energy, rather than submitting always to the propaganda, the pressure, the political muscle of the fossil fuel industries, which are always trying to deceive us about the harmful impact of the use of oil, coal, and now natural gas. Okay, from the Dharma, as we go about this work of trying to transform society and the world in a wholesome and healthy direction, there are also qualities that we have to develop within ourselves that will sustain us in this effort. And I've made a list of a few of these qualities, which I would say are rooted in the Dharma, but have to be given what I would call a contemporary application. One of these, which is the basis of all wholesome practices, is faith, which doesn't have to mean belief, blind belief in inscrutable mysteries, but rather the most basic level of faith is faith in the power of goodness. This is a faith which can apply to the followers of any religion and those who don't subscribe to any religion at all. But it's a faith that if one does good, if one works actively to promote the well-being and happiness of others, even at the cost of one's own comfort, one's own convenience, that there is somehow a power at work in the universe which is going to sustain one in one's efforts, despite all the obstacles that one might meet. It's faith that, I call this faith in the power of the Dharma, which doesn't have to be understood in an exclusively Buddhist sense, but faith that there is this cosmic force which is moving in the direction of goodness and which will always benefit us, bring the situation back to us if we make this dedicated effort to promote good in the world. A second guideline to sustain us is loving kindness and compassion together. As I said earlier, we develop this as an inward meditation through actively wishing for the well-being and happiness of others. And as we repeatedly develop loving kindness and compassion, not only do we feel greater lightness and vibrancy within our own being, but this becomes the key motivations for our activity in the world. So instead of looking out at situations and always asking, how can I get some benefit out of this? What good is this going to do for me? We ask, how can I act in the world in a way that's going to be truly beneficial to others? How can I act in a way that is going to help to liberate others, even temporarily, from suffering and from misery? How can I act in a way that is going to truly promote the good of others? Not only their higher spiritual enlightenment, but even starting out at the most basic level of material and social well-being. A third force, a third guidepost that should sustain us is a commitment to social and economic justice. The idea of justice is based upon an intuition, a premise, not that everybody should be absolutely equal in every respect, since that's not possible, but that everybody, every human being, should be able to receive the basic requisites, the basic supports of a fulfilling, meaningful, purposeful life. That means that nobody should have to go hungry. Everyone should have access to healthy and nutritious food and education about what kinds of food are healthy and nutritious, what are harmful and destructive to our health. People should have access to homes. People should not be driven out from their homes because they can't pay their mortgages, because they've been deceived into taking out unaffordable mortgages. People should have access to affordable, good, complete, and affordable medical care without risk of bankruptcy or depletion of one's life savings because of this. And so the principle of justice should motivate us to see that everyone has access to the basic supports, the basic requisites of a meaningful life. Another quality that should motivate us, closely related to justice and compassion, is respect for others. In the present-day world, particularly under the dominance of what I call corporate capitalism, people are seen virtually as commodities. We develop this kind of commodified picture of the world. So people are viewed in terms of what they can contribute to the company, to the benefit of the corporation. So if they're able to work, one seeks to pay them the minimum that one could get away with in order that corporate profits might be the highest. If one can ship the work off to another country or use technology to replace the worker, then you just drop them without any concern for their well-being. But when one has respect for others, then one recognizes a kind of intrinsic value in every human being. And this respect for others motivates one to treat them with respect, to treat them with care and consideration, to give them all the proper facilities that they need to work comfortably, that one pays them a decent salary for their work, and one tries to provide for them at times when they cannot work. We could see even the foundations for principles like this in the Buddha's discourse to Sigala, the Sigalovada Sutta, where the Buddha explains how an employer should treat his employees. Okay, so respect for others, we have faith, loving kindness, compassion, commitment to justice, respect for others, and then in the last place, wisdom. And wisdom here doesn't have to mean the supramundane or world-transcending wisdom, but through wisdom we need to first to determine for ourselves what are right goals in living, what are attractive but deluded goals. For example, people under the influence of delusion think the aim is to become as wealthy as possible. And so we have people in this country who are super billionaires. Some of them might have good hearts and also use their wealth for philanthropy, but others have no other purpose but to take over other companies, to exploit other resources, only for the purpose of enhancing their own wealth. And so if the CEO of another company is getting a salary of $20 million a year, I'm getting a salary of only $15 million a year. So I'm not satisfied till I'm able to either transfer to another company or persuade my board of directors to give me $25 million a year. So that's an example of deluded goals. Deluded goals would be wealth, status, power over others, prestige, fame, and so on. And so choosing meaningful goals means, as I indicated earlier, choosing a goal which is conducive to one's own spiritual development and also enables one to actively benefit others in the world. Another aspect of wisdom is knowing what you can accomplish and what you can't accomplish, so that as you pursue your goal, you don't get burned out, but you work persistently, slowly, patiently, step by step, realizing that one's ultimate goal, of course, as Buddhists, which is enlightenment, is something that we have to approach gradually. And we have to cultivate ourselves within this world in a step-by-step process, not making excessive demands on ourselves, but always striving on, seeking to develop our own spiritual faculties, while at the same time working for the well-being of others.